Yo, what's going on, my VVOGs, my Omi homies, my fellow master collectors, and everybody else on YouTube? It's your bromie, the Gale, back at it again with another VV video. Come on. What's happening? So, I've been on this journey since March of 2021. It's been about 9 months. Feels like 5, you know. But anyway, on my journey to becoming a master collector, I've learned quite a few things, and in this video I just want to talk about a few things that I've learned, you know, to maybe help some some newcomers or even some veterans. You know, we can all learn. You know, you never know what you're going to learn when you listen to people. So yeah, without further ado, let's just breeze into it. Okay, so identity. When I first got onto the app, I instantly identified as a collector. You know, I wanted to complete as many sets as I could. I basically wanted to collect everything. Back when I got on the app, like we had, like, if we were lucky, we had a drop a week. Sometimes we went a couple of weeks without a drop. So whenever we had a VV drop, it was game time. You know, we were collecting it because we were just excited to have a drop. Nowadays it's a little different. We're having like multiple drops weekly, and you know, we can start to pick and choose what we like to collect. But yeah, for like maybe 7 months straight, I didn't sell anything. I really didn't sell anything. I just now got comfortable with the idea of selling things. But that wasn't the same for everybody. You know, some people came on the app with a flipper's mentality. Like, they participated in drops, and once they got that ultra rare, they flipped it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I say that to say that there's collectors, there's flippers, and then there's a hybrid. So, you know, when you first come on the app, you know, I think it'll make it easier for yourself if you can decide what you want to do on the app. You know, if you can have a clear goal in mind, that'll make it easier to make your decisions. So yeah. So another important thing that I've learned on my road to becoming a master collector is that my strategy, your strategy, is going to change. VV is an evolving thing. You know, it's every day, every week, there's something new coming out. Whether it's the Omi utility program or the master collector program or some random announcement that we didn't even see coming, the game constantly changes, and so must your strategy. Like I said before, when I first got on the app, I didn't sell anything. I was holding sets because we didn't have the master collector article out yet, right? We didn't know how much points we were gonna get for sets, and we believed that sets were everything. You got to collect sets. You know, sets are gonna get you this. And once we got the master collector program points, you know, that changed the game, because now we were able to calculate or have an idea of what was going to happen with these points. And a lot of us have come to realize that sets aren't everything. The master collector program is secondary to collecting. You know, if there was no master collector program, we would still be collecting what we're collecting. So we shouldn't be basing what we buy off of that for the most part. So that changed the game. And then the Omi utility program came out, and that kind of switched things up. So yeah, like right now, my current strategy is to kind of stack my blue chips and my grails. You know, the Mickey Mouses, the Todd McFarlane's first appearances, Wonder Woman's, you know, and then I still collect what I like too. So like I'm trying to find a balance between making money, you know, stacking gems, you know, holding my blue chips, and at the same time collecting what I like. So, you know, this is like a tight wire act. You know, you're trying to find your balance. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And once I find my balance and, you know, get that flow, that's when I'm going to be in a groove, you know. But you're always trying to find that balance. You're always going to be tilting to one side or the other, you know, collector or flipper. You know, do I collect what I like, or do I let it go to, you know, buy the next grail piece? So yeah, your strategy is going to change, and there's nothing wrong with that. It actually has to change, because if you're sticking with the same strategy and we're getting new information, then, you know, you're kind of, you know, dead in the water. Like, you gotta change with the times. So yeah, you know, just know that your strategy will change. So another thing that I've learned on my journey to becoming a master collector is that no two drops are the same. So each drop usually has a different brand, or it's a different vertical, like comics or stamps, and so the situation is different during every drop. So back in the day, we had less users, and we were able to get multiple items on a drop, to the point where sometimes we just had to stop from buying too much. But as time goes on, we get more users, right? So the edition sizes change, as well as the amount of items we can get on a drop. And then like we might get some bangers, we might get some heavy first appearances or grails like Spider-Man or Walt Disney or something like that, or no drop is the same. The edition sizes are more or less, it just depends. So you really gotta just really attack each drop differently. Like for Wonder Woman, that's almost like an obvious no-brainer, right? First appearance of Wonder Woman, so you gotta go hard on that one. But Decon, maybe you might want to tread lightly on that because it's not a big IP. So just understand that every drop is different. Like when the first comics dropped, that was crazy. Marvel Comics 1, I got 11 on the drop, and directly after the drop, people were listing those for $2, $3, $4. They didn't know how to price them. Little did we know at the time, but that was one of the biggest opportunities on the app to make some serious money. Some people capitalized, some people stacked up hundreds of comics, and other people's sold them for cheap. So just recognize, I recognized, and you should recognize that no drop is the same. So take each one individually and do your research, and so you can be prepared for that. So another thing that I've learned while being on the Veve app is that you got to know when to hold them, you got to know when to fold them. So there are things that we call a gem crunch that happens on the app. This happens around a major drop, or if we know that multiple drops are coming up. So for example, the 12 days of Veve that we just had this December, that was announced in a AMA on I think it was on a Thursday, right? So the 12 days of Veve started that following Monday. As soon as we got the information on Thursday that there was going to be 12 days of back-to-back drops, that was the time to sell, because people like to wait until the last minute to start selling, but by then it's already too late. You want to get ahead of those kind of things so that you can be liquid, meaning you can have gems ready to make purchases. Stuff like that. If there's going to be a big drop like the Disney Golden Moments, you want to be selling as soon as you get that information, because it's gonna be harder to sell the closer you get to the drops. So another situation is like when an item pumps. Let's say your Batman randomly pumps for no reason, or seemingly no reason. Hopefully you can get as much information as you can get, and it might be wise to sell the top of that pump, because odds are it's going to retrace. Sometimes information comes out on Twitter, random speculation information. So there's an artificial pump just off of speculation. So if you can understand the situation and sell the top of that pump, you can buy back in for a lower price and then have extra gems on your hands. One example comes to mind is the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon. That book got recently animated, and as soon as it got animated, it jumped from 600 gems to 1.2k gems. Now, whoever sold at 1.2k, they made out like a bandit, because it instantly dropped maybe 4 minutes later back down to 600 or 800 gems or whatever. And some people bought at 1.2k, out of FOMO, So it's best not to FOMO, fear of missing out. You don't want to be chasing pumps. Definitely don't want to do that. That's another thing I learned. Don't chase pumps, because if you're not in it for the pump, odds are you missed it. Some items like blue chips like Steamboat Mickey or Walt Disney, when they pump, odds are they're going to stay up there. They might retrace a little bit, but they're still going to be a couple of $1,000s more as the new floor. So some items, it makes sense to chase. Other items, you just need to let it go and wait for it to come back down. So that is another thing that I've learned. Okay, so another thing that I've learned is that before you buy a collectible, you want to know the history of that collectible. You want to know if what you're buying is at an all-time high, which is the most risky time to buy, because odds are it'll go back down before it goes back up. You want to know if it's at an all-time low, because that is the best time to buy, because it can go nowhere but up. You want to know if like you want to know if that collectible is held by if the majority of that collectible is held by one person. So let's say Donnie, for instance. Like, I think like 40 people might have 40 Donnies might be owned by a single individual, and there's only 150 Donnies. So that means that person can kind of manipulate the market to a degree. So is Donnie really worth 50K? You got to ask yourself stuff like that before you go and make that purchase. Yeah, I think that's all I had for that one. Just know the history of that collectible that you're buying, because you could get burnt or whatever. So yeah. Okay, so another thing that I've learned is that it's important to be able to recognize market cycles. Veve has market cycles just like any other market, but I think Veve's is more predictable if you've been in the market and if you have a feel for the market. Sometimes when the collectibles are high, the comics are low, and then vice versa. The comics will be high and then the collectibles will be low. So if you can learn how to put your money into what's low and then ride it up to what's high and then dump it into what's low and ride that up, you can make money out of nothing, basically. It's important to understand the drop schedule. Collectibles, get put at a discount the closer we get to drops, depending on which drop it is. So it's also important to recognize that. You might want to sell some things to get some more gems. And just be able to if you can recognize the cycles, then you're going to do well. You're going to make some great plays and stack your gems up. And while I'm on the topic of stacking gems, you also want to stay liquid. You want to have a gem balance. You don't want to have to keep depositing fiat into the app if you can help it. But if you got money like that, it is what it is. But if you don't have money like that, you want to be able to, stack your gems. You want to flip your way up and, just make your gems out of gems. So, let's say the Wonder Woman drop. If you had 1,000 gems for the Wonder Woman drop, you could have bought 5 Wonder Woman after the drop for $200, rolled her up to $400, sold all those Wonder Women, and had 2K gems. That's how you build your stack. Situations like that. So yeah, that's another thing right there. Okay, one last thing I'll leave you with is, get connected with the community. The Veve Fam, the Veve community, is one of the most unique, special communities in the crypto and NFT sphere that I've ever seen. I'm not going to say everybody, but for the most part, everybody's helping each other, trying to teach each other how to do this thing. If you come on over to Twitter and hop into Twitter Spaces, you're gonna learn so much. You're gonna fast track your learning curve. A lot of people are turned off by Twitter because they think it's toxic, and it can get that way, but it's only as toxic as the people you choose to follow. You can curate who you follow. So come on over and join the Veve Fam. It is one of the best decisions I made. Twitter is our metaverse right now, so it's great to get connected, because Veve is a social app, or it will be once we get the metaverse. But for now, Twitter is like our metaverse. So just make friends. You're gonna learn a lot by bouncing ideas off of each other and stuff like that. So the Veve experience is going to be so much better once you actually get to know people. I'm an introvert, so I can honestly do without it, but I'm glad that I kind of put myself in the spotlight for once, and it's made my Veve experience a whole lot better. So it was getting in touch with the community, participating in the AMAs that Ecomi has. If Twitter isn't your thing, maybe join Discord, or build a connection with the YouTubers that you watch every day. just get in touch with somebody, build a relationship and see if that doesn't change your Veve experience. So yeah. And that's the video, my friends. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you learned something or enjoyed the content, feel free to drop a like on the video and consider subscribing for more Veve content like this. So those were a few things that I've learned on my long but short journey and road to becoming a master collector on Veve. Hopefully you were able to, get something from that. There's a lot that can be learned from other people's experiences and stuff, so hopefully that helped. And with that being said, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is financial advice because I am learning just like you guys. I'm just your friendly neighborhood genius, sharing his thoughts and documenting his journey on this most wonderful app known as Veve. So take everything that you hear with a grain of salt, because things could change. And with that being said, thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Until then, peace out and how strong, my friends. Later.